Hey everybody, this is Devin Francis, also known as Leonard Meltzner.
And I'm tired, also known as Charlie.
And you're watching episode 93 of the Adventures in Odyssey Oddcast. What are we talking
You
about
should
today?
know who we are by now. We shouldn't have to introduce
I hope so,
ourselves.
but hey, we always welcome new listeners and they probably
Hi,
don't
if you're
know
new. Thank
who
you
we
for
are.
clicking on this video, and don't you exit it until the end.
So, what are we talking about today, Victoria?
We are talking about Attack
At
the Arena. I should know the titles right here. I have the PDF right in front of me.
Yep.
Attack at the Arena, which is the second Imagination Station book.
Yes.
So we get to learn more about Albert and Lord Darkthorn. And I can give people a quick summary once Devin talks about whatever he wants to talk about.
Oh yeah, the only news thing, I found out we can talk about this now, so we talked about Jay, is Jay going to come back to the show or not.
Oh, he said you're allowed to talk about it?
Well, I found out in the comments on our last episode, I messaged Phil Lawler about it. He told me, but he's like, I'm not sure if we can like talk about it. But then someone in the comments on the last video mentioned that it was actually mentioned on the official podcast like a month ago. So it's
or are they just saying that?
I don't know.
So
I didn't
we
check the
tell
clip,
them.
But they said what it was in the comments.
Oh, they said what you knew?
Yeah.
Oh,
Which
okay,
is that Whit Hertford is currently in England doing some acting school stuff. And so if he returns to the US when he's done with that, then he can be back on the show again. But until then, he's not available because he is across the pond.
I didn't know he was in England. I thought he was just doing film school.
No. Yeah, he is across the way. So if he comes back, hopefully he will return to the show. Which explains why, as we thought, they left it so open-ended on, like, maybe Jay will come back from Hollywood, maybe he won't. So that's really the only thing to say.
Jay's gonna come back and he'll have missed so much stuff. Like, Wooten and Penny are gonna be married, and, like, that's actually the only big thing that's happened.
Well, it depends how long it takes him to come back, yeah.
He's gonna come back, and, like, Blackguard will have come back for, like, a 5th time and stuff, and Richard Maxwell will be permanently living there.
Oh, probably.
And Lucy will have married Jimmy, much to David Griffin's distress, and all this other stuff.
So, Attack at the Arena, written by Marianne Herring and Paul McCusker. What happens in Book 2, Victoria? Oh, here, I guess I'll give a recap of Book 1, in case people have forgotten. So, in the first book, cousins Patrick and Beth visit Wit's End, and Wit is in disarray because the Imagination Station is being cantankerous and not working for him. But it seems to respond to them, and he has this mysterious letter that appeared on the dashboard, but if you take it out of the Imagination Station, it becomes non-corporeal. So inside the Imagination Station, it says some weird thing about the full moon and angry Lord Darkthorn's tower and Albert's in trouble, please bring us a Viking sunstone and all sorts of other ridiculous sounding things. And so Wit's like, I need to send you guys literally back in time to meet Eric the Red and
through the Imagination Station, because that's how it works now.
And Leif and Erickson, and
I found out it's pronounced Leif.
I've heard it both ways.
I knew a guy, and then I found out I was pronouncing his name wrong.
I've heard it both ways.
And it was for an event, and I was coordinating the event, and it was really embarrassing.
So they go back because Wit's like, I don't know what a Viking sunstone is. So they go, and there's a bunch of red herrings, and they get saved by a mysterious knight in, like, 16th century English armor. But that's kind of glossed over. And then they get the sunstone, and they come back, and then there's another note, and it's like, extended plot contrivance, now you need the monk's cup. And Wit's like, come back tomorrow, and I'll send you to Rome. And that's where we pick up now. What happens, Victoria?
So, in this one, it picks up right where the other one left off. It's the next day, and Wit sets up the Imagination Station, and the Sunstone's gone, so Albert took it, or something, I guess?
Well, not Albert. Albert's in trouble.
Someone took it. Someone in the Imagination Station or something. Anyway, so then, this book is kind of where, I think, so this book was actually kind of turned into an episode, I think. The book came first, right?
No, the books are very recent.
Oh.
The book series...
Oh, I thought the book
series
first.
started around, like, album 51.
Oh, so this one is kind of based off of Telemachus, for those of you who know that episode. And, so Patrick and Beth go back into Roman, Greek, whatever, times, and then Beth is dressed as a slave, so then she ends up looking after Honorius's birds, and she meets, like, Honorius, and
Honorius.
she's the side plot. What? Honorius, yeah, that's what I meant.
Honorius.
What did I say?
Honorius, which you just said again, was Herod's wife in John the Baptist.
Crap, how do you pronounce it?
Honorius.
Honorius. So Beth has the plot going on with
because he's filled
Honorius.
With honor.
And then, meanwhile, Patrick's dressed up as a monk, so he is the plot going on with Telemachus and Aldrich,
but not Alfric.
Aldrich. And so then they have the plots going on. It's a little bit different from the episode. So, like, Telemachus has the cup, and then he gives it to them when the guards come and try and take his food and stuff. And then Beth and... I don't want to say his name wrong. Honorius. They end up going to the Colosseum, and then the rest of them go to the Colosseum, and then Telemachus is like, hey, stop doing this! And then they stop, and Telemachus leaves, and they get the chalice, and then they come out, and this knight guy appears. That's the same guy from the first one. And then he's like, hey, guys, hello, chaps. Go, what? Because that's how you do British accents. And what? And
sausages.
Yeah, and then they come out, and I think they get another letter at the end.
Yeah.
Someone. Also, we find out who Albert is. I think.
Ish.
I think they're sure about it, but I'm not sure because it doesn't make any sense. So apparently, Albert is like Wit's great something or other.
He's his ancestor.
Because he made programs to meet his like. I don't know, his ancestors in the Imagination Station, and Albert's one of them. So Albert is related to Wit, and they have to save him, which doesn't make any sense.
If this is real time travel, yeah.
Yeah, apparently this is where the plot's going, and then they get something, I can't remember what it is, giving them to the task to find the next thing. And then Wit's like, well, better start tomorrow. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll do this. And Beth and Patrick are like, oh, but we're so tired. We want to go take a nap. And better start tomorrow. Have fun on your vacation, kids. And I just added that last part, but yeah, they're going to start the next book tomorrow. They have quite the eventful week, these little rapscallions, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, if this is real time travel, then at the end of the vacation, Wit can just send them back to the beginning of it, and they can still get a full vacation without traveling through history.
But they'll have
the versions of themselves.
2 days of lag, and they'll always have to be in the Imagination Station.
But they're not in the Imagination Station, right? If it's real time travel, they get into it, they travel, and then they get out, and it disappears.
This is so confusing and convoluted. Oh my gosh. So
do you think in this version the Imagination Station disappears on Wit's End when they go somewhere?
I hope so. Also, something that annoyed me, I don't know if you caught this, but I definitely caught this. When they ended the Imagination Station adventure, it said they pressed the red button and the adventure ended.
I didn't notice that, no.
Yeah, I was sitting there and I was like, what kind of dumb crap is this? That's not how it works. And, like, of all the things that irk me in this book, I'm surprised that got to me. Because, I don't know, maybe that is how it works. They've never said what button stops it, but they always say, like, push the red button, that's the one that makes it go. But I assume a different button would make it stop. I could be wrong.
Was it in Isaac the Chivalrous when Wit brings him the remote button to shut down the program? Was that the red button, or was it the stop button that he brought him?
I don't know. But Isaac the Chivalrous doesn't matter. He was screwing with him the whole time either way.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to remember anyways.
I haven't listened to that.
It's really not that terribly important. Okay, so from the beginning of the book, even before the beginning of the book,
I caught this too. I messaged Devin about this.
We caught it for different reasons, but we both thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. The third review, on the first page where they take positive comment review stuff from kids and teachers and parents and stuff, I'll pull it up here. the third review, at the end.
Here, I have it pulled up. I can read it.
It says, the Imagination Station books focus on God much more than the Magic Treehouse books do, said Emily with 3 E's. It's Emily with 3 A's, age 7.
Tommy with 2 eyes.
Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. I thought it was hilarious because they're constantly like, oh, our books are nothing like the Magic Treehouse series, and then they include this quote where the girl is literally comparing it to the Magic Treehouse series.
Even the little kids are catching on to it, guys.
You're not smooth.
Not fooling anybody.
And meanwhile, Victoria had a different bone to pick with that comment, I think.
I just thought it was ridiculous that...
Well, you were talking about the fact that they're like, man, these books talk about God a lot more than the Magic Treehouse books do, and you're like,
oh, yeah, I remember that. I'm trying to find where I was, like, messaging you about...
You're like, yeah, because it's a Christian series, and the Magic Treehouse books aren't.
Okay, let me find some of my comments that I made. Okay, that one, no duh, Magic, and then in all caps, Magic Treehouse isn't a Christian series, you idiot.
So there's a little prologue before chapter 1 that kind of, I guess, explains adventures in Odyssey, or at least it explains Wit and Wit's End and the Imagination Station vaguely in the plot of the first book.
I'm glad it had this because I don't understand it, and yeah, I have all my comments from when I was talking to Devin pulled up. So
I also don't understand the prologue, mostly because it says at the very beginning about Wit, his workshop is in a large house called Wit's End. Now, that is technically correct, given that Wit's End was indeed house to the mayor of Odyssey for a few years just after World War II, but I don't think that's what they're getting at here.
Yeah. I mean, if you know the series, I guess you'll understand.
Or be more confused, probably. Honestly.
Yeah, they make it sound like just his workshop is the house. And it's like, what's the rest of the house? Or rather,
they make it sound like he lives at Wit's End and that's his house.
To save Albert, I need a Viking sunstone before the new moon, or Lord Darkthorn will lock him inside the tower.
Classic.
That was the first note. Okay, it's not fair. These illustrations are so gorgeous. The
illustrations are beautiful. We put tons of them in last time, and I'll throw up some more right now.
I forgot how pretty they were. They were like the only good thing I got out of the book last time. And I don't know about you, but I listened to Telemachus right after I finished the book. Mm-hmm. So I have some comments.
When the Year of Wit is over, we definitely need to review Telemachus. I've wanted to for a long time because it's one of my favorite episodes.
Telemachus, in my opinion, is as perfect as a 2-parter can get. I don't know if we should review it, though, because I don't think I have anything bad to say about it.
Oh, that's okay. We could still dig into it and talk about the themes and how effective they are and stuff like that. You know, there's still things to say about when it's good.
It's just such a good episode. Oh my gosh. I was actually I put off reading this book for a long time.
You didn't want it to tarnish Telemachus' story?
I didn't want to read it in general. I did, and I finished it in 35 minutes or something like that. It's super
short. You it was short. You're like, I don't have time to read it. I'm like, Victoria, this is such a short book with large print. I know how fast you read. You could probably finish it faster than I will while I'm taking notes through the whole thing.
And so...
wait, that was a redundant statement. You'll finish it fast, because you're faster.
Yeah. I didn't tell you this, Devin, because I didn't know you'd say I wanted to see your reaction in camera. My lighting just got really weird. I actually considered reading this book a second time, because I really enjoyed it.
Huh. Pretty good.
I was just so happy when Telemachus showed up, and I was just like, oh, new content with Telemachus, and it makes me really, really happy because I love him so much. And then don't even get me started when, I'm going to pronounce his name wrong again, darn it. Help.
Honorius.
When Honorius showed up, I was so excited. Oh my goodness. I love him so much. I think a large part of it has to do with the fact that he's played by, like, Dwayne's voice actor.
He's Chad Reiser.
Is that Dwayne's voice actor?
Nope, that's Monty.
Oh, I thought it was. He's Monty? What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I always thought he was Dwayne.
Oh.
But yeah, that's awesome too. And so, like, I love him so much. And I really love characters. My favorite kind of character... Oh, this lighting's weird. For anyone who knows me really well, they know that... Oh my gosh. That my favorite kind of character is one who's, like, kind of played for comedy, and then they get super serious at the end because, like, of everything they go through. And that's the kind of character that he is. And he has, like, all the chickens and stuff, and he's dealing with all that. And then at the end, I listened to Telemachus. I've listened to it so many times just so I can hear that last scene in the episode with him.
With him and Stilicho.
That scene
I love that.
Is so
but
good.
We're talking about the book.
Oh my gosh.
There'll be a time and place to talk about the episode.
I love that episode so much. So anyway, that's why I was so excited for him to be in this book and for Telemachus, and it did not disappoint me. I almost read it again just so I could reread all the parts with them, and I was very, very happy about it.
I had totally forgotten about Honorius being in this story until he was, like, mentioned in the book, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, yes, I totally forgot about him. Surprise. Fave.
Do you like him more or Telemachus? I love, like, what a ray of sunshine Telemachus
in the
is,
episode,
but...
I think I like Honorius more as a character, I guess, because he's just, like, really entertaining and fun. But, I mean, obviously, Telemachus is a human being.
And I always forget what the king's name is in Passages.
Oh, King Lawrence.
Yeah. King Lawrence and Honorius.
It's honor.
Are, like, the
two
most entertaining drunks in all of Odyssey, in my opinion, because the entire time, like, Stilicho was talking while I was listening to the episode, I was like, General Stiletto! Yeah, I love him. Let's have a party! Let's have a toast! And here's to you, General Stiletto, and the flock I left behind!
Stop talking about thing. We need to talk about the book, not the episode. I'm gonna look up how old Honorius was at the time. It was
that's like one thing I forgot to look up.
It was January 1st, 404 was that day. The last day of battles in Western Rome. He was born in 384, so he was 20 years old.
I thought we could talk about kind of the entire, like,
or 19,
story
I guess.
of Telemachus at the end of the review. Like, once we get there in the book.
He was 19 and 4 months.
He's older than me. That's not that young.
Yeah, it's young for an emperor. It's young to be ruling, like, the largest country in the world. I thought
he was, like, 14 or something like that. Or, like, 12.
So anyways, back to the top of the story. So, Wit is getting the kids into the costumes again, because apparently he needs to, because apparently that's how the Imagination Station works when it's actual time travel. I mean, he did that for Connie and Eugene in The Star, but, you know, he
also did it for Lucy.
Yeah, but, I mean, it didn't take him a long time to patch in the ability to change your clothes. So, by the time that these should be happening, given when the books are written, theoretically.
Yeah, well, this Imagination Station's stupid, so we don't know how it works.
Who knows? Beth doesn't know what a monk is. And I was like, how old are these kids again? Why are they the chosen ones, TM?
That was weird.
So
you can eat chosen ones of the time any day.
So, Wit left the Sunstone, like you said, in the Imagination Station. Not really by choice, I guess, given that it's relegated to such a bizarrely limited existence. I want a little rye in there. And now it's gone, presumably taken by the author of the letters.
I forgot how stupid Wit's ring was until I read it, and I just got frustrated.
So the author of the letters, my brother, who presumably is someone in a different time period.
So here's my reaction when Wit said that Albert is.
Wait, I'm getting there. So
okay,
the author.
I have my reaction on Skype, so I'm gonna read.
The author of the journals, my brother, who is presumably someone from a different time period. That grimace is everything I wanted from that joke. Thank you, Victoria.
You're welcome.
Is presumably someone from a different time period, and he snatched up the ethereal artifact from inside the imagination station and left their initials behind. Yeah. And it gets even more ridiculous.
Yeah.
It gets even more ridiculously interesting. So Albert is Whit's ancestor, and Whit knows this because he's been researching his genealogy, and he's been using the imagination station to meet his ancestors to write about them, because that's totally not cheating.
See, what I want to know is why Whit didn't know that in the last book, and why he didn't tell them that.
Well, he said he had a theory he didn't want to tell them yet. Because you need to keep people reading the next book. So, anywho.
Put in the picture of Cora, like from Cora, where she's like...
I mean, it's more a picture of Lynn. But...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't remember.
Anywho, so Albert's in trouble now, and also Whit left behind the remote control to the imagination station during his last adventure. And instead of that meaning that it's just rolling around on the floor of the imagination station, apparently it's lost in time. And whoever found it is the one who's taken Albert, maybe Lord Darkthorn, I don't know. And they use the remote to travel to the present, call the imagination station to them into the literal past, and took the Sunstone off the dashboard, I guess.
I can't decide what's stupider, the way like the imagination station works in the books, or how in the first Odyssey movie, like, they start inside of it, and then by the time it ends, they're, like, in the middle of the room.
They sleepwalked out of it. But yeah, this plot turned way more incredibly nonsensical than I could have even imagined or hoped for. It was amazing. And, like Victoria was saying, turns out Whit's magical, gaudy, disappearing ring was a gift from Albert. Obviously, which is why you can only see it in the station. Duh.
So, this is what I put. How did... What? So stupid. And all of these are sent as different messages. Sunstone is gone. Everything is stupid. What? So, what? Albert is Whit's great-grand whatever? Whit's ring is literally the most ridiculous thing in history. And, yeah.
I was really happy because I started reading the book and I got through this in the first chapter or two, and I'm like, this is amazing. Victoria, you need to read this right now. You're gonna love this. And she kept on being like, I don't want to. I don't like the books and blah, blah. And I'm like, just do it. I'm on my computer. I, like, leave to have a shower or something. I come... Oh, no, it was when I was out running for an hour for Pokemon. I come back, I check Skype, and I just see the string of messages, and I was like, oh, yes, this is exactly the reaction I want. I'll put a picture of it up here.
Yeah, put a picture of my messages to you.
So I'm guessing then that this is going to be a recurring theme with Whit giving each of the kids an item at the start of their adventure, and then both of them will get left behind somewhere. Left behind. The author of that series died the other day, apparently. Now,
Wait, James Dash? No.
What?
That's the guy who wrote the... Wait, Left Behind, like the Nicolas Cage?
Yeah.
Why would they take Nicolas Cage?
And Ashley Tisdale. What a matchup, right?
It's the weirdest casting ever. Unless Nicolas Cage sings. That's the only way I'd ever watch that movie.
Now,
and he sings with Ashley Tisdale. That'd be amazing.
Nicolas Cage in High School Musical.
This together. I was almost Superman once, you know.
I'm a vampire. Now, the weird thing is that Whit makes it clear here that, like, the items that he chooses to give to them is not precaution or coincidence or providence or any of that. He clearly knows that these are things they will specifically need in their adventure. He even says that Beth will know what it's for when the time comes, and he winks at her. So is this actually time travel or not? Because if it is, like, all the clues point to really hard in this series, how does Whit know exactly what's going to happen to them? Because he makes it sound like he programmed the interactions.
See, I thought it was because it was his adventure, so he knew, but now that you mention it, yeah, it's time travel, and that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, besides the fact that they take items into the imagination station that they leave behind and then they disappear.
But that doesn't make any sense that it's time travel, because at the end, they're asking about, like, what happened to Telemachus, and it's like, yeah, the version you guys experienced is the version I like to think happened.
Well, no, because the thing is...
what does that mean?
It's not the version you guys experienced, because it was left open-ended. They left at a point where it still could have been any of those possibilities he mentioned.
Oh, they did? I thought Telemachus left.
Well, they took him out of the Emperor's box, but it isn't clear, like, did he just go? Did they take him down and kill him to appease the mob? They didn't.
Oh.
That was the whole, like, they left it open-ended, which, if it is time travel,
they snuck him out.
And if Wit knows so much about the exact things people are going to say in this historical period, you'd think he would know what's going to happen 5 minutes later, but... I appreciate that since Beth and Patrick are in Rome and they started from the Colosseum, I actually recognize some of the buildings and landmarks based on their descriptions from playing Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, which takes place in the Renaissance, but it's in Rome in the Renaissance, and so all the structures are still there from ancient Rome. Like when they were standing on the third story of the Colosseum and they said that from there they could see a large building with a dome on it, I knew exactly which building they were talking about, and that made me happy.
So can I just say, I'm super glad that I wasn't Beth or Patrick going on this adventure, because I imagine, because Wit gives them the things like Devin said and says like, oh, you'll know when you need to use this. And I've had experiences like that where like something happens. I'm like, is it happening right now or is it not? Like my best example I can come up with is when I'm reading a book, because I'm a book nerd, and then my best friend tells me, oh yeah, there's this crazy plot twist in the book. And so then I get to a plot twist and I'm like, is this the crazy one she's talking about?
Did she say what it was?
Tell. And then I get to another plot twist. I'm like, is it this? Is it this? I don't know. And then I get to one at the end. I'm like, okay, it has to be this, unless there's another one. And then I finish the book. I'm like, okay, I think it was this. I'm not sure. And then I have to ask her. So I was thinking like, if I was Beth, or specifically like Beth got it easy, but if I was Patrick, I would have like given the chalice to anyone who looked at me basically and been like, are you the right person? I don't know.
The armband?
Yeah. And like I would have given it to the people when Telemachus gave them the chalice, because I was yelling at Patrick to give them the armband, because I was like, no, give them the armband, let Telemachus keep the chalice.
Same. Also, I thought it was 4. And yeah, it's funny, people always do that in media. They're like, you'll know when you see it, and it's like, well, yeah, you'll know it in in retrospect, it'll be the most obvious thing, but in anterespect, I guess, which probably isn't an actual word, it's not obvious.
Unless you're me, you just won't know at all.
So 41 pages into the book, we finally run into Telemachus. And so, like...
Wait, let me get there.
Like you mentioned, I guess the chalice is originally Telemachus's in this version then, not Alfric/Aldrich's. The story definitely already at this point has a number of differences from the album 32 version, namely that...
I thought about doing a versus for this, and I figured the episode would win really easily.
Yeah. So. Probably the biggest difference is that Prudentius isn't here. Telemachus is all by himself. But I'll talk about that when we talk about the actual like historical Telemachus. So there's, like I said, there's a number of differences, Patrick and Beth notwithstanding. And I was very curious then about how much of this is actually detailed in the historical accounts in Fox's Book of Martyrs and all that, because I've never had a chance to read it. I almost bought it once, but didn't. So the bird seed is for the chickens. Should have seen that one coming, because how could I possibly forget about Honorius and his precious little babies?
I knew Honorius was going to show up, but I totally didn't think the bird seed thing through. So
I really liked how the only thing that saved Beth from prison is that Wit picked the optimal possible bird seed to feed the birds with. I was like, man, Wit would be good at Hatful Boyfriend. He's got the bird seed picking down.
We got a picture of Honorius, and he didn't look like what I thought he would look like. I don't know about you.
Same.
Yeah, he just looked really different. You can show a picture of him.
Yeah, I did.
But yeah.
I definitely don't remember the part in the episode where Honorius's birds were set into the arena and then Aldrich speedball specialed someone into the protective netting of the Colosseum.
That never happened. What happened in the episode, considering, like, for the birds, you probably remember this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
I was making a joke, Victoria.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying it for everyone else. In this version, the birds come with Honorius, and it's just basically so Beth can come.
Yeah.
In the episode, General Stelco advises Honorius to leave the birds behind. And like I said before, this is for the flock I left behind. So, yeah.
Oh, I love him. Yeah, when Aldrich picked up Patrick, like, on his hand, I was like, is he gonna speedball special him? And then he did. He just threw him in his hand up into
I thought he was going to use him as, like, a human shield and, like, against the other gladiators, and I was like, no, what are you doing? And then he just, like, threw him up in the air, and I was like, oh, this works. Okay.
It's like that Fibbage episode where Gavin said that the Italians fought the battle with smaller Italians.
Smaller Italians. I played Fibbage and Drawful a couple days ago
with Gabe?
A bunch of times. Gabe got it.
I noticed that. I noticed she was playing it on Steam.
It was very fun.
I was wondering who she was playing with.
All of us. It was a birthday party.
Oh, nice. So, Patrick can recognize English versus Roman armor, but he or Beth apparently didn't know what a monk was. So I thought that was...
Also, my friends are all hanging out right now, and I'm here recording with you guys.
Aw,
so
thank you.
You're welcome. They're having, like, a potluck and stuff.
Nice.
And I'm here with you.
You're even more potlucky.
Never talk to me again. I'm leaving.
I feel like I should point out the common story structure in stories like this with two kids going back to a historical adventure, where the kids get split up and one's with the protagonist and the other's with the antagonist, and then they reunite at the end when the hero and villain come together to clash in climax. Besides this book, the first things that come to mind are Kurt and Lucy in By Dawn's Early Light, and Jack and Robin in Elijah Parts 1 and 2, and I'm sure there are others. I'm not really criticizing that per se, because I understand it's the most effective way of communicating the details of both sides of a historical story, where you have to meet both sides and learn about them in as little time as possible. I keep on forgetting that this is
time travel, and I keep on thinking it's the, like, adventure, but I think Whit did it on purpose, though. At first I was like, why didn't he make Beth dress up like a monk? And I was like, wait, there weren't any women monks. That's not a thing.
A nun.
And yeah,
they
and they didn't have any nuns.
Yeah, they existed in the
monks.
5th century.
So, yeah.
So, yeah.
I think Whit orchestrated it so the viewer could get all the plot information they needed.
I agree, because I did think about that too. I'm like, maybe you should have just not put Beth in a slave outfit.
Whit's like, I know this is a book, and I know they need to know the whole story.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I understand why they do it in terms of communicating exposition and stuff in an efficient amount of space, but still, the repetition does mean that the story will become predictable, and that's unfortunate. So, you know, it's a balance. What can you do?
I thought it was pretty intense that, like, the imagination state, or not, this is confusing, that the adventure started and they were in the arena and there was a tiger in there and it just started, like, chasing them, and I was like, holy crap, where did this tiger come from? And then
probably from
I liked
Asia
that,
Minor.
like, really disgruntled, like, animal guard, and how he was just, like, so done with everything that they met, and he was like, get in here. And then they were asking for help, and then he's just like, I don't care, get killed if you want. And Patrick, dressed as the monk, asks, like, oh, is there, like, a church nearby or a monastery? And he's like, you're a monk, figure it out yourself, peace. And then he just, like, leaves.
So, like, thank you for saving us from the tiger. He's like, I didn't save you from the tiger. I saved me from getting in trouble if the tiger ate something wasn't hungry enough for the games tomorrow.
He was like, I don't care about your stupid lives, and then he left. And I was like, I love this guy. At first I thought he was Telemachus.
So did I.
I didn't know who he was. And I was like, why is he so mean?
Yeah, around that point I'm like, probably not Telemachus.
Yeah.
So, like you said at the end, gasp! A knight stepped out of the imagination station. Could it possibly be Sir William, Earl of Marshall? But it was, well, we don't know that it wasn't. It could still be. But, so, because we know that...
found the picture of
Honorius.
I can't say.
I know, you keep on saying Herodias, who is Herod's wife. That's Salome's mother.
Yeah.
So,
how do you... Honorius.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
after all this time, all the people I've told about Telemachus' story, really, now they're telling me that this is how Telemachus' story actually ends, with that much ambiguity. was incredibly unsatisfying, and I'm disappointed that they never told us that in the original episode. And I'll touch on that
I think
just
that
a
it's
second.
Weird that they never said that in the original episode.
Yeah, because in Patrick, it was all like, well, this is where we know for fact, but these are the things that are left up to historical interpretation, and we hear differing accounts. Which one do you want to kind of explore theoretically?
Unless they didn't know that there were like different versions of the story, but I feel like they usually do enough research.
They should have based on what episodes.
I saw. So,
maybe
like,
it's because...
are we talking about like the history side of it now?
Just a second. The only other thing was I wanted to just say, so as we lead into the next book now, the next journey and book will be to retrieve the golden tablet of Kubla Khan. So that is looming in the near distance.
So we're going to go to China, guys.
Woot woot.
So I'm going to talk about the historical side of things, and then you can, because I think you did more research than I did.
I didn't spend that long on it, but you said
I know, but I didn't know anything about, like, Polonius or whatever his name was. Yeah,
Palencia was the battle that they won that led to capturing all of the Goths in the episode.
So, basically, I looked up on Wiki, everyone's favorite source, so faithful.
Well, that's where I started. Where else would you start?
Because I just wanted to know kind of what did happen, because, like we said, kind of had different endings a little bit. What I thought when I was reading it was that Telemachus left. I thought they, like, escorted him out of there. And then he just, like, went back to the monastery, and I was like, this is very different. Did they censor it for the kids?
That's what I thought.
I was thinking, like,
I thought
they killed all these people in the games already in the book, so I can't see them really censoring it unless they think it will be more intense since he's a main character.
Yeah, I thought that they were just gonna, like, just leave the ending off to make it a softer ending. And they're like, what happened to Telemachus? And it's like, I'll tell you when you're older.
He didn't say that, did he?
No, but that's what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he went into detail. So what happened was I stopped reading for a moment when, like, they came out of the imagination station because I wanted to know what was up. So I went on Google, and first thing that comes up is the myth of Telemachus. And so that surprised me because I didn't know that he was known as kind of more of a myth character, because historical, like, essays and, like, just history, we all know that, I'm going to say his name wrong again, Honorius was the emperor, and
from what I could see, it seems pretty definite that Telemachus was a real person.
Yeah, he did end it because of events, and like Devin said at the beginning of the episode, we even know what day all the games ended.
It was New Year's, and we January 1st, 404. You're not found.
Yeah, and we know it was like the degree of the past emperor. What was his name again?
Well, it was a past. It was Constantine, because of course he was the one
Constantine's
who made
decree,
Rome Christian.
And then they reinforced it. And
I don't think he was the very previous one. Constantine was in the 4th century, I think, because Constantine was when Rome split in half. So it couldn't have been too long ago Constantine was emperor, I think. It's been grade 8 since I've studied Roman history, so
I want to study Roman history. Anyway, so there are 3 possible ways that people say are the most popular for how Telemachus could have died, and I saw them all on Wiki. And then Wit also explained all of them once I started reading again. So the first one was he left the arena, he was escorted out, and then he just, like, went back to the monastery, and they stopped the games and all of these things. The second one is he went in and he was cut down with a sword, and that's the one we get in the audio version of Telemachus. And then the third one is that everyone was really upset about him, like, trying to stop the games and stuff. So then they brought him into the arena, and then they stoned him to death. Like, the audience stoned him.
Yeah.
And either way, 2 of them he dies, 1 of them he doesn't. The games end either way.
So I found out, and I couldn't find, like, a secondary source for it, but it seems that the account of the crowd just leaving in silence and then Telemachus leaving alive, that account comes from a speech that Ronald Reagan gave in 1984. And I can't find an actual historical source of where Ronald Reagan got that from, so I feel like I can rule that out historically in my mind. Everywhere else, the consensus seems to be that Telemachus was killed either by mob stoning or by official order, like you said.
Mm-hmm. I don't know about you. Okay, which ending would you choose if you could choose one?
I like the one in the audio episode, personally.
I like the one in the audio episode too. I don't like the one where he just leaves and everyone else leaves. It just seems too unrealistic for me.
Yeah. Plus, he wouldn't be a martyr then.
True.
Kind of negate
the
his...
Book of Martyrs. He leaves alive and nothing bad happens.
I know.
Surprise! Did you think these guys were all going to be martyrs because they're in a Book of Martyrs? You're silly.
That's when I thought that was going to happen in the book, when they're, like, leaving and he's still alive, I was like, he's a martyr. That means you kind of have to kill him at the end of the book, guys. This can't have a happy ending.
Yeah, what actually happened was he was leaving and then he tripped on the stairs and he died.
It's like Eli when his sons came back and they tripped and snapped his neck on a rock.
Wait, what?
In was it Your Servant Is Listening? Now I'm 57.
I haven't listened to that episode in a long time.
Because that was like how Eli died. Remember, God's like, I'm gonna smite you down if you don't stop your kids, and he's like standing there. He just like falls over, and they're like, "Is he okay?" And Ava's like, "He snapped his neck," and I was like, "How violently did he fall?" Anyways,
I've always been a klutz.
Through most of the story, I assumed that this meant that Prudentius was just a made-up figure for the audio episode, because Telemachus needed someone to talk to and bounce dialogue off of in the story until Aldrich showed up. But I looked it up. It's kind of fuzzy, but as far as I can tell, he doesn't seem to get much mention online, but according to Edward Gibbon's The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, there was a guy named Prudentius who was a Christian poet who exhorted Honorius to stop the games right after the victory of Pollentia, which is the same one in the episode and in the story. But it had little effect, and Telemachus, very shortly thereafter also pleaded with the emperor to stop and did all that stuff, and then ended up stopping. So Prudentius was another Christian, seemingly unrelated to Telemachus, but he was also trying to stop the games during the same festival, or around the same time. Mm-hmm. So I assume that was the same.
I'm gonna sneeze.
I assume that's who he was supposed to be.
Sorry. Before I forget, I just want to say I really like what they did with Telemachus when he got to the stadium, like when he got to the arena in the book, as opposed to, I think this is one of the few things I really, really liked more than the audio version. So in this one, what happens is he gets there and then he gives a message to Beth to give to her
honor, Victoria.
He's my fave, but I can't remember his name. It's so embarrassing. It's not Honorius. Why do I keep on wanting to call
Honorius. Honor.
Honorius, thank you.
He has honor in his name.
Honorius. It's not pronounced.
But it's spelled the same. The American spelling is the same. Because there's no U.
And, Honorius. Okay, I got it. It's like her.
No, it's Honorius.
Honorius.
No E in the entire word.
Honorius. Okay, I think I got it now. So I almost forgot what I was saying. So Telemachus gives a message to Beth because she's in the Emperor box with Honorius. Mm-hmm. So then in the message is, let me find the quote.
Ask the Emperor if he's a Christian first.
Wait, no, I want to find what they say specifically.
I will find it.
It's your turn to fly, boy, Aldrich said.
It is page 99.
99? Oh, I was 2 off. Okay.
And 100.
No, that's the page I was on.
Of the PDF, not of the book, I should say.
Oh. Okay.
99 and 100.
And I got it. Okay. So this is what Telemachus tells Beth to say to Honorius. or Honorius. So she asks him if he's a Christian, and he says, yes, of course I am. By law, the emperor must be a Christian. Beth says, there is a monk who asked me to say this. How can a Christian emperor laugh while men die? How can he then drink from a holy cup? That silver chalice has been used for the Lord's Supper. And then Honorius is like, hey, where's this dude who's dissing me? I want to go talk to him. So then Telemachus comes up. In the episode, he doesn't talk one-on-one with Honorius. He just kind of like yells and then gets killed.
Yeah.
So I liked how this happened a little bit better, but I can understand because I don't know, the reason they were close to the Emperor's box in the book is because they had something valuable, which was the armband that Patrick was able to use to get them good seats.
It was covered in massive rubies, which I'd like to point out are the most valuable gemstone on Earth.
Yeah, how did Wit get that?
Maybe it's fake. It's probably costume jewelry, honestly. But
I hope so.
He nicked it from J&J's. But
don't tell Jack.
Yeah, and Jack's like, "Where's this?" Like, 5th century Rome. But that's so incredibly valuable, and all it bought them was 2 box seats at the Colosseum.
Yeah, it's like, I have this expensive diamond bracelet, but I don't have any money. I want to go to the movies, so I'll just give you this. Can I please go see Finding Dory? So, in the episode, I guess they didn't really have anything valuable. Basically, all they had was bread. So maybe that's why they were kind of just in the normal seats along with everyone else. Because there wasn't anything about, like, special, specific seats in the episode.
Yeah, also because...
So I figured they said, like, you can just go to the normal free seats where everyone else is. And I thought they were going to go there because I was thinking of, like, where he came in from the episode. But instead, Yeah,
well, I mean, in the episode, why would they spend... Even if they had stuff to spend on better seats, why would they get them? The only reason that they spent money to get better seats in this one is because Wit told them to.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
true.
They'd be like, why do we want to spend money on this?
I don't know. I'm just thinking of, like, in one version, he had better seats and he was able to talk to Honorius. Yeah. And in the other one, he didn't. And Honorius. And in the other one, he didn't. And then he just kind of, like, ran into the stadium and started yelling.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just kind of liked what he said to him, how he told him off.
It was interesting that Honorius had this, like, change of heart. And he wanted to stop, but, like, no one was paying attention to him. I'm like, you're the Emperor. Even if they're not, like, tell your guards and be like, hey, someone go down there and stop this. Like,
I just loved the sense of panic he had when he just stopped. And he's like, they're not listening to me. And he was, like, so freaked out.
I'm like, you can do something. You're surrounded by guards who will throw themselves into the arena, fall to their deaths if you ask them to. It should not be hard for you to order someone to go down there and stop things. Just because they can't hear you yelling from up here.
Yeah, I thought that was a little weird.
But, I guess time was of the essence.
I like
not like he had a time machine or anything.
In the episode a lot more. How, like, it kind of reminded me of this thing. I can't remember what it's from, but it was someone doing something, like, really weird and dangerous. And then someone's like, should we stop them? And the other person stops them. And no, it was from a Nostalgia Critic review. Someone's, like, about to hurt themselves or something. And, like, they're doing something crazy insane. And then he starts talking over the people who were sitting there and watching. And one of them says, should we do something to stop them? And the other one holds out his hand and he replies, no, I want to see how stupid this gets first.
That's basically Suspicious Minds with Bernard.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of not in the same sense, but slightly what it's like in the audio version, where, like, Stilicho is like, hey, should we do something? He's like, no, wait, I want to see what happens.
It's popcorn.
Shut up, General Stiletto.
Yeah.
And he gave away the silver chalice rather easily.
Yes, he did.
He was just like, I don't want to see this again. Take it.
I mean, he was emotionally upset, and also it's not like he doesn't have silver.
Yeah. I just thought he gave it away, like, super easily. Like, he gave it to us, and then I literally said while reading the book, oh, that was easy, and then we just kind of left.
Well,
actually, the
wait,
night
are you
showed
talking
up, and
about
then we
Honorius
left,
giving it away or Telemachus giving it away?
Honorius.
See, that one makes sense. I was really surprised by how easily Telemachus gave it away.
I was too.
Because Honorius is super rich, and now he's emotionally scarred by the chalice. But
well, I mean, like,
Telemachus was supposed to bring this to the Pope, or to the Bishop of Rome, and he gives it back to him. He's like, I don't know, Patrick, do you want it?
He gave it to them, and he's like, let's pray that we get it back, or that it goes to a good cause. And I'm like, dude, I know they're not going to fire you from the monastery, but they just might for this stupid thing you just did.
They're going to beat you with buckets. I
wish that we knew, like, him giving away the Honorius giving away the chalice made me wish that we knew what happened to it in the Odyssey episode, but I'm guessing if they don't know so many things about Telemachus, they're not going to know what happened to the monks.
Probably not.
So, yeah, they're calling it the Monk's Cup. I thought that sounded so stupid. And then it's like, well, technically they call it a chalice, and I was like,
solid chalice.
Just call it a chalice. Monk's Cup sounds like really stupid.
So, overall, with the story, I felt like the plot was just really short.
It was really short.
Like, it was like...
It was really, really quick.
They split up, and it's like, Patrick ends up with Telemachus, and Beth ends up with Honorius. And then they basically almost immediately end up back together, and the book ends without almost anything happening in between, except for, I guess, Aldrich showing up and taking the cup. So, yeah, next time, to China, Kublai Khan, Golden Tablet. It'll probably be the one from Night at the Museum where you turn it around and everything comes to life.
I knew it sounded familiar.
That's not the same tablet, because that's...
I feel like I've heard of it before, though.
Well, I mean, because Kublai Khan's from China, so it's... And the tablet in Night at the Museum is Egyptian, so...
No, but Kublai Khan sounds familiar.
Well, yeah, he was a pretty famous guy.
But, yeah, I really liked the book. What about you?
It was better than the first one, I think. I mean, honestly, I feel like the plot had, like, more complicated stuff going on in the first one in terms of, like, different progressions of things through the story.
I feel like the first one was too busy, and that's why I couldn't understand it very well.
This one, it was definitely a lot more organized by story structure, even though it was shorter. It was nice that it was a story we already knew, so we had, like, a control group to back it up against.
I feel like we're probably a little bit biased because we're attached to these characters already.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about Beth or Patrick in that regard. Also, I'm not attached to this version of Wit in any way. Because he's just like, oh, Albert, my ancestors, my ring! And I'm like, go away, go away. I don't want you here. Such an ugly ring. It is an ugly ring. I don't like his ring.
So, I think I will rate this book higher than the last one. And I'm glad that they did explain a little more about what's going on with the overarching plot, even if it did get even more unfathomably ridiculous, which I enjoyed personally.
Every time they mentioned the overarching plot, I just got really tired. I didn't want to read stuff concerning the plot. I want a 5-book series about Honorius so I can learn how to pronounce his name properly. And Telemachus.
I thought it was funny because we were talking about,
Honorius. Is it Honorius?
Yeah. Wit not saying, like, the stuff that he knows because, need a plot thing to drive you into the next book. Last time at the end they're like, but who's Albert? And Wit's like, I think I know, but I'm not going to tell you until tomorrow. And then at the end of this book, they're like...
Was that their motivation for coming back because he put them through traumatic experiences?
Yeah, he needs to reel them back in somehow. And then at the end of this book, on, like, the last page, they're like, but Wit, who is that knight and how is he traveling through time? And Wit's like, I have some ideas, but we'll talk about it later. I'm like, darn you, Wit. You and your cliffhanger.
J.A. Whittemore, how dare you.
BuzzFeedy, the...
Do you call him BuzzFeedy?
Yeah. He's clickbaiting them.
Yeah, I know he's clickbaiting them.
He's like, 6 weird things you'll never believe about my ancient ancestors.
click to find out more.
Exactly.
You'll never believe who Lord Darkthorn just kidnapped.
Yeah,
click here to find out more.
Watch this video. It's heart-touching story of a monk getting stabbed to death in the arena.
Honorius.
You'll never believe what happens next.
Honorius or Horonius. You'll never believe
this,
how you actually pronounce it.
Yeah, take this quiz to find out which mispronunciation of a Roman emperor you are.
I want someone to make a Tumblr post, and it's just like the signs as like incorrect pronunciations of Honorius' name, and it's like.
Admittedly, you only have one, so it's all going to be the same.
I said like 6.
I think you only said Honorius.
I said at least 3. I said Honorius.
That's right.
Horonius. Honorius. I don't even know which one's right anymore. It's Honorius.
Yeah.
Honorius.
Honorius.
Yeah, I have to picture it in my mind.
Yeah, if you think of the word, it's easy. IMO.
No, I'm using like Han, like Mulan. That's how I'm remembering it.
So, overall, this book, what am I going to give it? Probably solid 4.2. We're moving uphill. What's going to happen next time? Who knows?
I feel like none of the other books are going to be as good as this one.
The next one is called Peril in the Palace.
Like clothes? Or apparel?
No, peril,
like
P-E-R-I-L, like
problem. Trouble. Okay, I didn't know if you were saying apparel or apparel.
No, that would be interesting,
clothes.
but it's not alliterative, so obviously not.
Obviously.
Just a second, Victoria. You talk about your thoughts.
I want them to look for clothes in the next one instead of the tablet, so it will be apparel in the palace. Anyway, I think that I'm going to give this one a 4.5. I really liked it. Basically, I love Honorius and Telemachus so much. They're two of those characters where I could listen to them reading the phone book together and I would be thoroughly entertained. So, yeah, 4.5 for me. I was saying as you were leaving that I want them to go look for like a toga in the next one instead of a tablet, so it will be apparel in the palace. But apparel of apparel in the palace. And,
some kind of apparel, something you wear when you're in trouble.
So I think the only down point, like the only points where I was just thoroughly exasperated during this book were when the main overarching plot kept on coming back in, and Lord Darkthorn. I don't even need to get into how stupid that name still is, but yeah, I like this one.
Nice.
I might read it again.
There was no note this time, was there? Yeah, no. They just found out about next time from the night, but there was no note left behind. Maybe there'll be next time after someone comes from the past again. Is?
I thought it was Albert. But I guess that wouldn't make sense.
No, it's someone who's trying to help Albert. Maybe
Richard Maxwell.
Maybe
Blacker.
It's Wit's great-great-grandmother, actually. It's like Albert's wife and is future wife, and they're going to have the baby that eventually becomes Wit.
So it's like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be much more interesting.
So it's Wit's Uncle Jackson is the knight?
Grandpa Jackson?
Yeah, Grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant Grandpa Jackson.
Yes.
Is the knight.
That is
He's like, one day, Witch, you will find my journal. And the last thing they have to find is his journal.
Yeah.
So they can give it to young John Avery Whittaker and they can make a good OAC episode.
An excellent OAC episode.
Indeed. I listened to it again the other day.
So, is that all you have to say about this one?
Did the knight talk at all?
Yeah, because he's the one who told him they need the golden tablet.
Okay, so we definitely know it's not like a woman in that armor.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's like, maybe it's a woman and it's the armor.
The armor's female, but the person inside is male.
No, because it says he was wearing full armor, so maybe they just think it's a guy, but it's actually a woman, the deep voice.
I mean, I've done stuff like that in writing before, where I'm like, oh, it's a guy. Well, I make the character assume it's a guy. And then it turns out to be a woman.
Yes. So who knows? We'll find out eventually, probably.
My lighting's still annoying me. There!
So, what are we talking about next time, Victoria?
Oh man, we're doing so many episode recordings today. It's kind of hard to figure out. So we're going to be doing the OAC episode of the month, of course, which is going to be things unseen or things not seen.
Yeah.
And got some, that's a good episode. Go listen to it before we review it.
It's a good episode.
And
excellent
then we're
episode.
going to do part 2 of our episode from last time, which is going to be part 2 of the Mortal Coil.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about all the good things we have in store for Eugene. Well, not good things for his character, but good things overall within the narrative.
Good things for his character in the long run.
They did to his character. Pardon?
Good things in the long run.
Just good storytelling things.
And wits in there somewhere, too.
Yeah.
So, until then, thank you for joining us on our side of the YouTube. I've been Devin Francis, also known as Leonard Mounsner.
And here's to the flock I left behind. Here's to you, General Stiletto.
And you've been watching The Adventures in Odyssey Oddcast.
I love what's his name so much.
Goodbye.